Once upon a time, the medieval world as they knew it began to break down because of a few intelligent people that understood life and the universe a little better than most. This led into what we call the scientific revolution. So what exactly was the scientific revolution? It was a shift in scientific thinking that pointed toward a new future, shaped by a new perspective about our physical universe. People began to assume that math controls nature and the rest of our universe. Polish scholar Nicholas Copernicus proposed the idea of a heliocentric or sun-centered universe. Earth is just one of the planets that orbits around the sun. Astronomer Tycho Brahe and astronomer-mathematician Johannes Kepler were a couple of the people who believed him and tried to prove his theory. A little later on, famous astronomer Galileo created a telescope and observed that Jupiter's 4 moons revolve slowly around the planet, much like Copernicus said that Earth moves around the sun. These discoveries created an uproar by other scholars in the church. Galileo was tried and kept under house arrest for heresy. To avoid losing his life, he agreed to state publicly in court that Earth is the motionless center of the universe. Legend says that as he left the building, he muttered, "And yet it moves." Over time, a step-by-step process of discovery evolved. This became known as the scientific method. It required scientists to collect data and take accurate measurements. They used reasoning to come up with a logical hypothesis, which they then tested and proved to be true with calculations. Andreas Vesalius published the first accurate, detailed study of the human body in a book called On the Structure of the Human Body. He attended autopsies to learn more. In the same decade, Ambroise Paré developed a new and effective ointment to treat infection, new surgical techniques, and several scientific instruments, among other things. Around 60 years later, William Harvey described blood circulation for the first time, and toward the end of the century, Anton van Leeuwenhoek perfected the microscope and was the very first human to view cells and microorganisms with his own eyes. According to one well-known story, Isaac Newton saw an apple fall from a tree and wondered whether the same force that pulls things to Earth controls the movement of the planets in our solar system. Over the next 20 years, he used math to prove that this force, which he called gravity, keeps the planets in orbit around the sun. He later published a book that explained the law of gravity and other workings of our universe. The end.
I'm Bree, and I was a filmographer and color coordinator.
I'm Pelmon, and I was the artist.
And I'm Camryn, and I was the narrator.